to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. I'm your host, Mari Reesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Sair Kaufman, award-winning musical theater writer and performer. Please enjoy Sair Kaufman. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Sair Kaufman, award-winning musical theater writer and performer. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I am super excited to chat about creativity with you. And before we get into that, why don't you take a couple of minutes and let our listeners know a little bit more about who you are and what it is you do?
Yeah, for sure. So my name, as said, Sair Kaufman. I am a musical theater writer and performer based in New York City. And let's see, it was 6 years ago now. That's crazy. I was fully unemployed, as many were, and the only thing I had going for me was a D&D game run by one of my dear friends, Chloe. And so I decided to thank Chloe for keeping all of us going with this virtual game throughout the pandemic, that I would write her my character's backstory. I sat down, I figured, oh, this will be a nice, 3,000 word little jaunt through fantasy. And I emerged 7 days later with a 63,000 word novel.
Wow. Okay, keep
And well,
going.
the thing is, I'm not a novelist, despite the mounting evidence to the contrary. I am a musical theater writer. So when I sent it to Chloe, after being like, what the? Her first reaction was, okay, reality shaper musical when? And I was like, this is a 63,000 word novel. I guess you can expect a musical about the time that 6.5 hour musicals come into fashion. But I had just been diagnosed with autism. Shocking, I know. The hyper focus to write a book in a week really should have been the first clue, but I was suddenly surrounded and finding community with the vibrant disabled folks in New York City and
Mm.
beyond. And that really awakened me more than I already was to the fact that musical theater is inherently not the most accessible medium, not just in terms of disability, but also in terms of geography and financial situations. So as a writer, I was trying to come up with, okay, well, how do I create a musical that is going to be accessible to my entire community, not just the ones who are able-bodied enough to get to a theater, who can hear, who can see, who can, but like to everyone. And so this was percolating in my mind when I said the word 6.5 hour musical. And I realized that if you took what worked so well about 36 Questions and In Strange Woods and all of these fabulous musical podcasts that came before, and you sprinkle in a little bit of Adventure Zone and you add a dash of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, like you could create a piece of theater that is inherently accessible. So that was 6 years ago. Since then, I've written 4 more novels in the series, and season 1 of The Reality Shaper, a musical podcast, is airing every other Tuesday as we speak, and will be through October. So,
Wow. My goodness, what an incredible like crafting of not only capacity, but honoring your journey along with so many others
mm,
in in just that invitation to show up and
mm,
see yourself represented, I
right.
think is such a stunning
Oh,
gift
and our
to
cast
give.
is full of like the loveliest neurodivergent people you've ever met.
That's incredible. Just to, I mean, I think so many individuals hear autism or receive a diagnosis on some spectrum, and it sounds like maybe longer than you to find community, steep yourself in it,
Well,
and
I
embrace
was
it in that
lucky that
way.
I was in good company. I wasn't the first person
Mm-hmm,
in my like extended circle who
mm-hmm.
to like go through the process of having autism. So
Yeah.
one of my friends like immediately invited me into her community with this
Mm.
this theater company, this neurodiverse theater company called Epic Players, which is a fabulous institution. I recommend performers who are looking for, more neurodiverse communities to join. Like, you don't have to be autistic. You don't have to be, you can be totally neurotypical as far as you know and still join Epic.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, on this journey of writing novels and musical theater pieces and showing up for all of this, when you think of creativity, what does it mean to you to be creative?
Okay. So I when I saw the title of your podcast, I was so excited because I was like, I have something to say about this. I
Beautiful.
think creative people enjoy being creative. I think
Mm,
writers like
mhm,
to write. I think painters like to paint. I think artists like to create art. The issue is that we live in a modern world where serotonin and things that make you feel good have never been easier to access. Like TikTok,
mhm.
YouTube, this, that. You can pretty much just pick up your phone and immediately flood your brain with happy chemicals. So if your brain knows that it can get that same pleasure or that same satisfaction just by going, picking up and swiping, why would it go to the effort? And it is effort, being creative. Why would it go to the effort of creating something new? And
Mm.
for me, at least, it was mid-pandemic. Like I said, all I had going for me was this D&D game. And I finished all of The Office. And I turned off the TV and I realized I was bored. And so that was part of when I started like getting creative. I think the first thing I did
Mm.
was write I was like, I wonder if I could write a musical in a week. So I sat down and I was like, yeah, sure, we'll just spit it all out. So I wrote a musical based on this web series that my partner is obsessed with for their birthday. And that was so much fun. And then I got a bunch of my friends on Zoom and we all, sang and read this dumb musical that I wrote in a week. And then I was like, okay, what else could I do? Oh, let me do this backstory. It quickly just exploded into this whole thing. And I don't have any experience with novel writing, like I said, but I think there's an inherent uh the hero's journey. It's like if you know how to write a musical, you know how to write a book. If you know how to write a play, you probably know how to write a book. Like, because if you just understand a character's adventure, like, obviously it's a different. Now I'm getting off topic.
It's all good. No worries. I
Different
love
skill
it.
set, different skill set.
Yes.
But so what I found when I was unemployed and bored is that I hit
Mm.
this really effective rhythm. I
Mm.
would wake up around 11 a.m. I would make myself some breakfast and I would listen to a podcast, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't watch anything because there's
Mm.
something about the seeing and the hearing that tells your brain it's okay to turn off, or at least tells my brain it's okay to turn off. So I would
Mhm.
just listen, I would eat my breakfast. When I finished my breakfast, I would put on my playlist and I would start writing. And I would sit down and I would write. And that first week, I wrote a little over 10,000 words a day.
Wow.
I was, visiting my parents at the time, and my dad would just like drop a baked potato on the desk next to me and be like, "You actually need to eat." And I would be like, "Yeah." Uh, but yeah, I managed to turn that kind of sprint feeling into a more sustainable process for me because when I went home after that and I decided I wanted to write, the book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, I was hitting more like probably 4,000 to 6,000 words a day.
Hmm.
And I would, like I said, wake up at 11, eat my breakfast, write. It would be my partner would come home, we would eat dinner together. After dinner, my partner would go to sleep. I would put on my headphones, listen to my little playlist, and I would write some more. I would go to bed around
Mm.
2 a.m.
Mhm.
and then I would wake up at 11 and do it all over again. But what I found was if I didn't give my brain the easy serotonin early in the day, my brain would become
Mm.
addicted to the creativity side of things. It would crave it.
Mm.
I didn't have to force myself to sit down and
Mhm.
write because I like doing this. And my brain likes doing this. And if I just reminded my brain that by not offering an easier hit of the good happy chemicals, then my brain just naturally gravitated toward wanting to do the thing. And that's
Mm.
really kind of the thing that I wanted to share and why I was so excited when I saw the title of your podcast, because I was like, I feel like, at least for my brain, I've cracked the code.
Absolutely. It totally sounds I loved hearing just I don't know, the ease in which you allowed creativity to show up and
Mm,
be present and act with it or engage with it. I guess because I think sometimes try and squeeze it into the times in between,
mm.
and it sounds like you had such space to allow it
Yeah.
to deepen and grow and be really present.
Yeah, if I could just collect nice big unemployment checks for the rest of my life and write novels for a living, that would be wonderful. But I think also relevant to mention is like it didn't happen right away. It happened a few
Yeah,
months into uh, everyone being quarantined.
right.
I think a lot, largely because before the pandemic, I was working a very stressful job and I was extremely burnt
Mm,
out. So my brain just
hmm.
needed that reset of playing Animal Crossing and watching The Office for 8 hours a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand.
And then
I'm curious.
I just hit that point where it was like, nope, time to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. My curiosity is piqued in how how it looks today. Is it still wake up
Mm,
at 11 or
no, I
what
wish.
has changed? What has changed and how do you keep digging into your creative voice?
Well, yeah. Well, so the books, those were written literally between January 1st of 2020 and December 31st, actually October 31st of 2020. So those happened in the over the course of like, is that 10 months? 9? I don't
Yeah,
know.
10.
10 months.
Yeah.
Um, but the writing of the musical version uh, was a much longer process,
Mm,
not only because of the adaptation angle, because when you're
hmm.
writing one novel, it's enough to just have one satisfying hero's journey from the beginning to the end. But when you're writing something for an episodic, any kind of
Right.
episodic storytelling, it needs to be pretty much a satisfying hero's journey every single episode.
Hmm.
Luckily, we managed to figure it out mostly by moving some stuff around. Maybe this scene that happened earlier, this happens later, yada yada. But that whole process, I think, from like beginning to write songs through to having a draft where we were like, okay, let's get this into the recording studio, was 3 or 4 years.
Mm,
And
yeah.
at that point, I was once again working 40 hours a week. Luckily,
Oof.
not at a job that caused severe burnout most
Hmm.
months of the year. And at a job that I really like. but it still definitely limited my time, the time that I could work on it. Also because I was in the BMI musical theater writers workshop. So I was writing other
Oh,
things at the same time as working on Reality Shaper musical podcast. I think the thing, oh, well, I mean, practically speaking, the thing that helped was people were really interested in this project.
yeah.
My team and I, we were invited to the Johnny Mercer's Songwriters Project, which I'm
Mm-mm.
pointing at in the background because I know there's no video. But in afterwards, we were invited to the Johnny Mercer Songwriters Grove at Goodspeed Musicals, which is like
Mm-hmm.
that was so wonderful. Um, we were given these opportunities to workshop new
Mm.
material and figure out what works, what doesn't. And at one of those opportunities, we actually were able to meet with a dramaturg who I think really
Mm.
kind of opened up a lot of opportunity in terms of like the episodic adaptation for us.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's just a lot of collaboration, a lot of people believing in you and like sending you on these writers retreats where you get that dedicated time. And when I was at that writers retreat, you better believe I was like 11 to 2ing it. Every opportunity I get. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think oftentimes time is the thing that escapes us
Hmm.
from creative pursuits, especially if we have a 40-hour a week
Yeah.
job or family or partners or just lifing. What does that look like for you in kind of that normal day to day when you're not at a writer's workshop or you're not doing something that takes you out of your regular scheduled programming?
Sure.
How do you navigate I don't know, laundry and cleaning the bathroom and all
Yeah.
those other things that show up in our lives that we have to work around?
Yeah, I mean, I have a dedicated list of chores that are
Mm.
like set to
Hmm.
repeat once a week or once every 2 weeks, and that often gets neglected.
I appreciate the honesty.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was supposed to scrub that bathtub last year. I don't remember. And then eventually, anyway. I
Mhm.
find that the thing for me anyway, the biggest obstacle to my creativity in my day-to-day life is actually not any of the mundane stuff.
Mm.
'Cause at my work, well, like for example, this was years ago. I was stationed way out in a corner, helping visitors, and no one ever approached me. So I had a pen in my pocket and I had a map. And so I would scribble lyric ideas on my little map. And by the time my shift was done, I would have like an entire, AABA ready to go sit down at the keyboard and make something of it. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that the minutia keeps me from like that has never been an obstacle because the creativity sort of finds a way,
Yeah.
like in Jurassic Park.
Sure. I love that though. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that.
But the biggest obstacle is honestly that I am a writer and performer doing their best impression of an executive producer. Because my
Mm.
project and everything I do is fully self-produced by
Mhm.
choice. By the way, I like there were people who were interested in making this, but they weren't
Mhm.
interested in the reasons behind it. Like
Mm.
we wanted to make a hyper accessible piece of theater And
Right.
once you're talking about turning that into, or like making it inherently something else, it's like, well, sure, yeah, that sounds more marketable, but it's not exactly the mission. Do you know?
Yeah.
So we made the executive decision to go with self-producing. Um, and then, life happens, people depart the team, and before you know it, it's like you're holding up a lot of
hmm
marketing and stage managing and scheduling and just all of this other stuff that requires my creative energy to
Yeah.
make happen. And it's even something as simple as yesterday, I think I spent like 45 minutes after work just compiling sheet music and demos into a folder for people who are in our next concert. Our next concert is August 24th at the Laurie Beachman Theater. For people to study and learn those songs for the next concert. But it's just like I have all that material, right? But it's just about like going, searching through Google Drive. Oh, is it
Yeah.
in the Dropbox? Where do I find this? Such and such and such. Blah, 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 blah. And before I know it, 45 minutes has gone by, and I haven't even sent the
hmm
email that I was gonna send because I was like, oh, I better do this before I send the email. And so it's all of the
mm
producer things that really get in
hmm
my way, all of the freaking budgeting.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
Wow.
it's like you also make trade-offs when you work with a professional producer, when you work with a
Right.
professional stage manager. It's like my cast is doing this for the love of the game. God bless
hmm
them. I do not have the money to pay those people what they are worth, and they're aware of it, and they're doing it because they care about me and they care about the project. So
Yeah.
because of that, it's important to me that they feel that the scheduling, that the communication is all extremely simple and easy. So,
hmm
it's important to me to take that time and do that out of courtesy for the people who are lending their talents to making this a reality.
Mm.
Paper. But
Yeah.
bunch.
I love the just how much passion can get you.
Mm,
It takes you quite far, and then we also have to have other people believing in our passion
yeah.
to take it even further. So I understand that journey.
Yeah. Well, I'm
I'm
very lucky.
curious.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. My community is incredible.
It sounds like it. Everyone's
Yeah.
showing up and helping keep keep driving things forward and
Hmm.
moving things along and supporting you, I can only imagine, in that process as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
enormously.
Well, for people who are maybe just starting out in the writing or musical theater writing and all of these pieces, what are the things that you wish you had known in the beginning that you would pass on to someone else?
I mean, great work does not happen in a vacuum. I think
Mm,
building on what we've been talking about, community is so important. And
hmm
building yourself a community of people who are better than you in
mm,
XYZ way, that is going to
hmm
make sure that you are never settling for, the middleest that you can do. Find people who are going to tell you, yeah, that wasn't your best song. Find people who are going
hmm
to tell you, this is really cool, but this is two different things. And you need to pick
mm.
one of them and do that really well instead of trying to straddle. You know, and I was very lucky that when I went into the BMI workshop, I was immediately surrounded by all of these incredible people. I mean, Julia Rue, Andrew Underberg, like everyone is so cool. I have a friend, Justino Tesoro, who shout out Marlise off Broadway, opening soon. Go get tickets. Um, but I was like, he was sitting right adjacent to the stage at our last concert, and I was like, oh, Andrew, and I turned to him and was like, Andrew Underberg's here, and he was like, what? I don't know if you know. Andrew Underberg has done music for like a lot of the Barbie movies. If you're
Mm.
watching a Barbie movie
Mhm.
and a song is good, that's Andrew Underberg's fault. I
Good to
actually,
know.
oh, and Has Been Hotel, and some songs in Hell of a Boss now too, like the whole Helliverse situation. But we have a running gag where I'm like, I can smell an Andrew Underberg song from a mile away, so I'll be watching something and I'll text him and I'll be like, "This was you," and he'll be like, "Yep."
I love when you can see someone's fingerprint
Mm.
in whatever it is you're listening to, watching,
And
reading.
his
Yeah.
music is just mwah.
I love it. Well,
So
it sounds
good.
like you have built such a rich and diverse community
Yeah.
to support the work that you do. When when people are, I don't know, seeking community, finding community, how does one do that?
Well, I think you
They-
have to you have to seek out the people who are
Mm,
actively trying to be better. You're
mm-hmm.
not really
Yeah.
gonna like there are meet and greets, and I wouldn't discount meet and greets. I'm sure for some people meet and greets are great. For
Hmm.
me, I have always met like the people who are going to be lifelong collaborators and friends in training programs and in,
Mm,
intensives. If you seek out programs that are going to make you better at your craft, you are naturally going to find yourself next door to other creatives at your level or slightly below or slightly above your level who
hmm.
are also, and this is the important part, trying to make themselves a better writer.
Mm. Yeah, I appreciate that distinction of like it is when you get into that
Mm-hmm.
intensive space where everyone is working on leveling up,
Mm-hmm. Right.
that you are going to surround yourself and be in those more intimate
Yeah,
opportunities
because
with others.
no one is Sondheim, right? Sondheim grew up next door to literally Oscar Hammerstein. And like
Mhm.
no one is that lucky. Maybe sometimes that lucky, right? But you're not just going to happen into a genius who's going to take you under their wing and mentor you. I mean, that did happen to me. I was very Barbara and
So
Selmy.
Sarah and Sondheim. There we go.
She's gonna be mad that I called her a genius. But Barbara Anselmi, composer of It Should Have Been You, heard some of my
Mhm.
early work and was basically like, I'm gonna mentor you, and helped me get into the BMI
Mm.
workshop, and the rest is
Wow.
history.
What an amazing right place, right time, or right person hearing the right
Absolutely.
thing.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think she would be insulted at all for me to say that, like, I learned a lot more in the workshop where it wasn't
Hmm.
just one person's opinion that I was getting. I was
Right.
hearing the audience's reaction. Because that's the thing.
Hmm.
A person can lie. A person can have their own mishigas. A
Hmm.
person can, have baggage that makes them see things in a certain way. But an audience does not
Right.
lie. Right? You can
Yeah.
trust if you get a million laughs, that's irrefutable, pretty much.
Hmm.
And you can still probably improve, but you'll know you're on
Right.
the right track when you see people lean in, when you feel the room
Mm.
holding its breath.
Hmm. Yeah. What a great reminder.
Yeah.
My goodness. What a treat this has been chatting
Ah!
and creatively exploring all the things. I have one last question for
Okay.
you. What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
I am not in my body when I'm being creative.
Thank you for your honesty. I love
Absolutely. I
that.
am somewhere else entirely.
Oh, that's great. That is great. So, out of body experience when you're
If
creative.
I'm writing a fantasy book, I am in the plot. I'm in the scene. If I'm writing a
Mm-hmm.
song, I am in the moment. I'm imagining what this character is thinking and feeling and
Mm-hmm.
planning and how they would choose to verbalize it and what ways they would communicate these ideas. Um, I am not even thinking about my own stuff. Like if I have something going on in my life, that's the furthest thing from my life. And that is actually, I found that to be equal parts therapeutic and effective. Is it okay for me to explain what I mean by that?
Please.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
When you see a piece of art, quote unquote, that is someone's therapy on stage, you feel that and you cringe a little bit. Like when someone is on stage doing a piece of art, but it's really just them like vomiting their feelings at you and processing their trauma in real time.
Yeah.
That is felt because that is not art. That is pure emotional expression. Right? And so when I say therapeutic, I don't mean that it's just, here's my feelings, my feelings, my feelings. What I mean is that by embodying a character and thinking so practically about the way they would speak to something like betrayal or something like fear, something like abandonment, that allows me to access those parts in myself, those feelings in myself. And so sometimes I will write a song entirely from a character's point of view, and often that's a good one. I'll be like, yeah, good job. And then I'll look back 3 months later and I'll be like, oh shoot, I wrote a song about betrayal right when I finally cut ties with that one friend. You know, I wrote a song about loss just after my grandfather passed away. And it won't be until later that I look back and realize, like, oh, this song is good because even though it is specific to the character and specific to their dialect and their vocabulary, that feeling is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for deepening into that. And if you or any of our listeners want to kind of tease apart this even further, I do that in my episode with Alexandra Beller about being the witness versus the audience.
Amazing.
So definitely check that episode
so cool
out.
that you've already talked about this.
Yes,
amazing.
It's such a deep, important conversation of the distinction between art and therapy and what it is to have a witness of your life and what it is to have an audience.
Right.
And that distinction and where that line is and how so many things, as you said, feel like maybe this isn't for an audience. Maybe this is for a witness.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Which in my industry, you have to be really careful about because people are paying money for these theater tickets.
Oh, yes.
So if I pay money for a theater ticket and then I'm sitting in an audience while someone is vomiting their feelings at me,
working through their life,
I'm going to be like, maybe my $70 should have gone towards something else.
Something else. I completely understand. Yeah, or part of a therapy session. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Thank you for having me.
If people want to learn more about the work that you have out in the world, how could they go about doing that?
SairKaufman.com has all of my stuff. And for more on The Reality Shaper, you can go to therealityshaper.com. Please listen to the podcast. It's on all podcast platforms. If you're listening to this, that means you listen to podcasts. So if you want, it's a D&D inspired fantasy musical podcast featuring epic adventure and a queer enemies to lovers arc. It's also really funny. It's so funny.
I love it. Well, I will definitely check it out. And thank you so much. I will put links in show notes so people have easy access. And again, this has been such a treat chatting with you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yay! I'm glad I didn't dominate the conversation.
Not at all. Not at all.
Thanks for
for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.